how's it going? It's your boy MegaLugia here, back for Season 2 of the NPL Week 5. I am your coach of the Bayern Munchlax. Welcome to the channel if you are new. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like if you enjoyed. But this week we are going up against the Colcumbus Carnivines, coached by Nerdy. His link will be in the description down below, so make sure to go check him out, as well as all that other good stuff down there as well. And people, we are 2-2. Nerdy is 0-4, so it looks like on paper we have a good matchup, but let me tell you, my friends, this was a very interesting match to prep for. Also, coming off of last week, I do want to mention we did pick up a loss. Not gonna lie, I was pretty upset about that loss. It kind of got to me, but you know what, we got to move on from that. We cannot let that slow us down. We have to munch our way to victory. We're gonna make our way to the playoffs, hopefully, fingers crossed. And we got to start off with this week picking up a win. So going up against the Colcumbus Carnivines, we look through his team first. We see Mega Charizard X, Terrakion, Gengar, Gastrodon, Ambipom, Quillfish, Rhyperior, Rotom Fan, not sure the name, Fortress, Swampert, and Swallow. So when you look at this team, very interesting makeup. As you can see, there is a huge grass weakness, being, you know, Swampert, Rhyperior, and the Gastrodon, which are 4 times weak to grass, and the Terrakion, who's also weak to grass. But what do we have on our team? We don't have any grass types, so dang, we can't take advantage of that. But we do have ways around it, so don't sweat, don't fret. But if you see his team, very interesting. A lot of very hard-hitting offense and a lot of annoying bulk to deal with. So it was very tricky to come up with a team that I think could, you know, potentially give us a win. Because if you look at his Gengar and you look at our team, his Gengar has the potential to 6-0 our team with the right coverage, like Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Energy Ball, and Thunderbolt. That's all he needs. Like, he can honestly 6-0 our team with that coverage, so I very much have to play around it and see what it has early on, see if it's Scarfed and locks itself into a move, or Life Orb. It'll be very tricky to deal with. Of course, he has the Mega Charizard X, very hard hitting. If he gets up a Dragon Dance, it's going to be very hard to stop. He can also bring the bulky set with Dragon Tail, Will-O-Wisp, that kind of set, but you know, we have ways around it. Terrakion as well, very hard for our team to deal with. The combination of close combat, Stone Edge, Earthquake does a lot to our team. Of course, it outspeeds our Mega Gardevoir, so although we can hit it super effective with the Hyper Voice, his Terrakion will just knock us clean out with the Poison Jab or Stone Edge, so we do have to watch out for that. Like I said, I already mentioned the Gengar. He has the Gastrodon, 4 times weak to grass, but other than that is really bulky and can take a lot of hits, has access to reliable recovery as well, so we do have to watch out for that. The Ambipom Amon, I very much wanted on my team at the beginning of the draft because it hits really hard, right? 100 base attack with Technician, Fake Out, Silk Scarf, Life Orb, whatever you choose. Also has base 115 speed, which outspeeds the entirety of our team, so we have to watch out for that. He could bring it, like, for his team as what he can bring. He can honestly bring anything. He's very unpredictable, so I definitely had to prep for his whole team again, but I had to consider his biggest threats, as you always do when you prep for a team. Moving on, he has the Quillfish, can definitely be an annoying one to deal with because of Intimidate, has access to Toxic Spikes and can try to Hazard Sack me, but we have a Poison Pokemon on our team, so we can take care of that, as well as Heatran, who is Steel type, who does not care about that. Scald is going to be an issue to deal with, but we do have a few Water Absorb Mons in our team, so we can take advantage of that. Next up, he has Rhyperior, very bulky on the physical side, not so much on the special side, but does have Filter as an ability, which reduces super effective moves to 3/4 instead of 100%. He can bring a Double Dance with Swords Dance Rock Polish. He could bring a very bulky set with Stealth Rocks, you know, the standard Rhyperior set you would expect, but we have ways around that, so not too worried about Rhyperior. Next, he has the Rotom. Electric coverage against my team, does a lot of damage in combination with grass types. Luckily, this Rotom, unlike last week, is electric flying and not electric grass, so we have ways around that. He could bring the defensive set with Will-O-Wisp, which is what I'm expecting him to bring, or he could bring the Choice Scarf set, which in my opinion is a bit more easier to deal with. So that is his Rotom. Next up, he has the Fortress. He has a lot of 4 times weaknesses Mons on his teams, I can see, especially with grass and fire. Well, you know, those being the only 4 times super effective, but Fortress, very annoying to deal with. My best way of handling obviously being the Heatran with a super effective fire move. I'm not sure if he's gonna bring it. He definitely can, you know, Rapid. I think that's his only way, other than Swallow, that is his only way of hazard removal, so he probably will bring it with the Rapid Spin, maybe bring Stealth Rock, Spikes, Explosion, Gyro Ball, some combination of that, but I'm 50-50 on the Fortress. Next up is the Swampert, very bulky Swampert. very annoying mon to deal with. 4 times weakness to grass is helpful, but it has access to Stealth Rocks, Power Up Punch, Waterfall, Scald, Earthquake, Earth Power. You know Swampert, it's bulky. He could bring it defensive, he could bring it offensive, but if he does bring it, I'm pretty sure it'll be defensive. I don't expect him to bring Rhyperior, Gastrodon, and Swampert since they all have a 4 times weakness to grass, but I don't have any grass type mons on my teams, oh ho ho. So we'll have to wait and see. Last up, he has the Swellow. Swellow obviously is, well not obviously, but usually runs the Gut set, you know, the Toxic Orb or Flame Orb, to give it access to moves, will make moves hit harder, like his Brave Bird, like his Facade. Obviously doesn't care about the burn if he is Flame Orb because of the guts. So I do have to watch out for the Swellow. Very fast, outspeeds the entirety of my team, even with some Choice Scarf ones, so I have to watch out for that. But if he does, he either can bring the physical offensive set with Brave Bird, or he can bring the special set with Boom Burst. I think Boom Burst, Heat Wave, some combination of that. So Swellow is a problem. Gonna have to scout out early set if it is special or physical. Also have knockoff on one of my mons to get rid of that boost from the Flame Orb before he gets in and prevent any shenanigans from happening there. So now we have gone through his team. I'm honestly expecting the Mega Charizard X, Terrakion, Gengar, Gastrodon, Rotom, and Fortress. Those are the mons I'm predicting, but like I said, I'm not that good at predicting, as you can see in the past few weeks, and this guy is very unpredictable, so he can bring whatever he wants. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move into the Bayern Munchlax team, and the first member we have is Wrath, our Gyarados. We brought Gyarados to every single match, and man, I'm loving him. Even though he doesn't pick up the most kills every week, his presence there is enough to scare out the team. We're rocking Substitute, Dragon Dance, Waterfall, and Toxic. 84 HP, max attack, 28 defense, and 140 speed. That speed that you see there is, I believe it allows us to outspeed things that want to speed creep us, potentially like the Quillfish, Gastrodon, Rotom, Fortress, Swampert, things like that, and also allows it to outspeed a max speed Timid or Jolly Swellow after one Dragon Dance. So that is one thing to keep in mind. Substitute, because I'm going to substitute on it, potentially his Quillfish, his Gastrodon, his Fortress, his Swampert, whatever it is, I can substitute on that, go for the Dragon Dance, and potentially sweep through his team. We have the Toxic there as well because we are walled by the Gastrodon, so that's why we have Toxic. His Scald cannot break our sub, neither can his Ice Beam, so we are good to substitute, get some leftovers, residual recovery with our leftovers, and Intimidate as our ability in case it comes down to a late match and we have to intimidate that Terrakion to all hell and back, so it does not sweep our team, as well as the Mega Charizard X. So that is Wrath, our Gyarados. 1 second. Next up, we have our Seismitoad with a moveset that I'm very proud of. Earth Power, Scald, Gastro Acid, and Refresh. So the Earth Power in Scald is self-explanatory. Earth Power hitting the Terrakion, Charizard X, the Rhyperior, Scald, and the Quillfish. Scald hitting the Charizard X as well, the Terrakion. Just Scald hitting everything except for the Gastrodon. So that's why these two moves come into play. You see the Gastro Acid and the Refresh. So Gastro Acid is a poison type move, and it nullifies the opponent's ability. You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. So Gastrodon, couldn't get that bugger's name in my head, has Water Absorb. Unless for some reason he doesn't bring it this week, then you know it still works out. But Water Absorb, you know, so obviously he's walled by, well, I'm walled by his Gastrodon with my Seismitoad. It's called, he's gonna absorb the damage. So if I go for Gastro Acid, get rid of that Water Absorb. Now I can go for Scald, potentially get a burn, and we have Refresh there because I'm expecting him to Toxic my Gastrodon. So I go, not my Seismitoad. So I go for Refresh. He cannot touch me. 1v1. We come out on top. We win that battle because of Refresh, Scald, Gastro Acid. We can beat the Gastrodon. So I'm very proud of this set. Also, the EV spread allows us to take 2 Dragon Claws from a Mega Charizard X that's adamant without any boost. Like if he doesn't have any Dragon Dances, it's very hard to find a counter or a wall to Mega Charizard X. This is our best answer. We can take 1 or 2 hits and we can do around 80% of damage without the Earth Power. So that is Susan Boyle, our Seismitoad. Very happy with this and expecting it to put in a lot of work, and honestly it has to. Next up, we have Sub-Zero, our Kieran, with Draco Meter, Ice Beam, Dragon Pulse, Earth Power. Pretty much max special attack, 56 special defense, 196 speed, pressure with a Timid Nature, rocking the Choice Scarf this week. Kieran, he's not put in as much work as I wanted him to do this season, but I think he has a good job to do amount this match. 196 speed allows us to outspeed a max speed, Yeah, max speed Rotom, who if he's choice Scarf, that's why 196 speed, max special attack, obviously to hit as hard as we can, 56 special defense to potentially take hits from that Gengar if it comes down to it, like Focus Blast. So Draco Meteor, Ice Beam, Dragon Plus, Earth Power, you know what it is, it's standard, hits a lot of his team. I'm expecting it to, this is going to be mainly my main revenge killer, unless you know he has a Scarf Terrakion, which is definitely a problem. Other than Scarf Terrakion and Scarf Gengar, we outspeed the rest of his team. So that is why we have Sub-Zero Akiram hitting very hard. Hopefully can put in the work this match. Next up we have Millennium, our Claydol with the Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, Psyshock, Earth Power, Max HP, Max Defense, Bold, Levitate with the Kaiseb, I don't know how you say it, the Ghost Reducing Berry. Now Gengar, like I said, 6-0 is my team, so I have to have a relative check or counter to it, which is why we have the Kaiseb Berry. So he's not going to expect it, right? I bring in my Claydol versus the Gengar. He goes for the Kaiseb Berry. We take around 30%, and we can Oko it with Psyshock after Rock. So this is very, very important for the Gengar. It's also our main counter and check to the Terrakion, because Max Adamant Choice Scarf Terrakion does around 35% with a Stone Edge, and Close Combat does even, does even less, and the Psyshock can do a lot of damage back. And this can potentially take hits from the Mega Charizard X as well. And the Earth Power doing around 60% damage. Stealth Rock, Rabbit Spin, we need hazards up this match because the only way of removing them is Fortress unless he brings Defog on the Swallow. And yeah, so that is Millennium, our Claydol. Pretty interesting set. I'm hoping that it works out this week. Next up, we have Mulan, our Mienshao with 36 HP, max attack, 220 speed, Regenerator, Jolly, enough speed to outspeed a enough speed to outspeed a Mega Charizard X after one Dragon Dance if he is Jolly. Adamant, obviously, we outspeed. The moveset that you see is Grass Knot, Knockoff, High Jump Kick, U-Turn. High Jump Kick, U-Turn, Knockoff, always going to probably come every week because they're such good moves and just handle the rest of his team. Grass Knot that you see right here, very, very interesting move now. Mienshao actually has 95 base special attack, so even with a special attack reducing nature, Grass Knot does around 40%, 45% to a physically defensive Gastrodon and more to the Swampert. So that's what we have Grass Knot. We can two-hit KO them after rocks, and I don't think he's gonna see it coming. And oh, I do not have the, that's a bit of an editing mistake, but we are rocking the Choice Scarf this week because it's very, very important. But I do not have the Choice Scarf there on the layout. Forgive me, please forgive me, guys, but we are rocking the Choice Scarf this week. And our last mon coming this week is Pepe, our Skunk Tank. Sucker Punch, Pursuit, Fire Blast, Toxic, 4 HP, max attack, 212 special defense, 36 speed, Aftermath, Adamant Nature, Lumberry as the item. Now there's not very much you can do with Skunk Tank, but what it does well. Now this is also one of my answers to Gengar. Gengar is very, very scary for my team. We have the Sucker Punch to Oko it, Pursuit Okos it if he switches out as well. Fire Blast is there for the Fortress, and Toxic is there because honestly, I was debating between Taunt and Play Rough. Play Rough is there to hit the Terrakion because honestly, this Terrakion, we get walled by Terrakion with this current set, so that's why I had Play Rough there. But then I was like, okay, then now we get walled by the Gastrodon, so I brought Toxic. I was thinking of bringing Taunt because I can taunt his Fortress. Maybe if it's turn 1, I expect him to go for Stealth Rocks. We taunt him, we Fire Blast him, and Oko him from there other than Sturdy. But inevitably, I decided with Toxic because it helps with the rest of his team. We can Toxic the Terrakion, we can Toxic the Gastrodon, the Swampert, whatever it is. So that's why we have Toxic. We have enough speed to speed creep things that want to speed up, speed creep us, like a little bit of a speed invested defensive Quillfish, as well as all his other mons like his Swampert and his Gastrodon. Lumberry, instead of a Salfest, you would think maybe a Salfest to handle the Gengar even better, but if I need to switch into a Will-O-Wisp from the Charizard, or Will-O-Wisp from the Rotom, or a Scald from the Quillfish or Swampert or Gastrodon, whatever it is, I can take it. We're not burned. We're burned, and then we can heal it off with the Lumberry, because if this thing is burned, it's going to be very, very hard to deal with the Gengar. So that is why we have the Lumberry. And guys, that is our team. Make sure to come back tomorrow and see the match versus Nerdy, the Colcumbus Carnivines. Very, very interesting match. I'm hoping we pick up a win. I'm determined to pick up a win this week, because if we don't, we're going to be 2-3. And playoffs is going to be very hard to reach, especially with our match next week up against the Portland Crowbats. But that's a story for another time. Make sure to smash a like if you guys enjoyed. Come back for the match tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed watching. And until next time, it's been your boy MegaLugia, the coach of the Bayern Munchlax, checking out. Peace!